Okay, I've recorded this a couple of times. I keep getting interrupted. We are going to make a scene something like what you can see here as my wallpaper. I'm going to show you how I did it using Blender and rigid body physics. Open up Blender. Down the bottom left-hand side, I've got a little application going, a little plug-in for Blender that will show you what I'm doing. So if I press the left button, you'll see the left button click. If I do a shortcut like S for scale, see the S appear and then fade away. Okay, I'll try to tell you what I'm doing as I do it, but sometimes I forget. But follow along. So we've got a light, camera, default cube, pretty much the basic startup for Blender. I'm going to take the default cube, I'm going to delete it. There's a reason why, because I want to show you something later. But this is not the end of the world. So X to delete that cube, Shift A, and add another cube. Actually, I'll go back. So I'll Control Z it, right? So materials. The default cube has a material attached to it already, ready to go, right? It's the only mesh in Blender that has a material by default. They normally don't come with anything, so colors and stuff like that. So I'm going to X delete, Shift A, add a cube, and you can see my new cube has no material, and there's a reason why I want to do that. And it'll all become clear as we go on. So, but as I said, if you use a default cube, it's not going to matter too much. I'm going to scale this cube, S for scale. I'm going to type in 0.25 for my numeric keypad, press enter, and I've got a cube. If I bring up the options N over here, you can see that it is scaled down. Now, when you scale things, it can do weird things to your animation. So I'm going to go Control A and reset the scale to 1. It hasn't changed the size. It's just now that is the scale, right? I'm going to make a lot of cubes, 1,000 actually. So I don't want my outliner up here to be full of meshes. So I'm going to right click up here and go New Collection. Double click on that and call it Cubes. And then I'm going to move my cube into that new collection. It's like a group of objects, could be whatever, lights, meshes. While I'm at it, I may as well hide, click on the little eye, that collection there. I think I could use the numbers up the top too. 1 would turn it on, 2 would turn on that. Yeah, okay. So I've got 1 collection turned on. And the other's just hidden. It's not deleted. Scale has been set. I'm going to get rid of that menu there. And want to make 1,000 of them. Who doesn't want 1,000 mini cubes? So I'm going to click on the spanner for a modifier and use the array. And I'm going to make 10 along the x-axis. Obviously, I could go along a different axis, which you'll see in a minute. But I don't want them touching. So see that how I copy them up. I can move them any way I want. So let's bring up 0. Get sidetracked. I would like them to be a bit further apart than, well, I don't want them touching. I'm just going to add an extra 0.1.02, and I don't want 8. I want 10 of them. I want to go the 1,000. Okay, so I've got 10 cubes going along the x-axis with a little gap in between. And then I'm going to click on that little down arrow up here on my modifier. Click Apply. Now, that's one mesh. I've made it an entire mesh. So I'm going to, with it selected, do it again. Array, this time, not on the X. I want to go on the Y, 1.02. And let's make 10. I now have 100 cubes, which I'm going to apply. With that selected, let's do it a third time. Array. And let's go up 10 to make 1,000 beautiful little cubes. Now if I go to apply and hit tab, you can see they're all the one mesh. I don't want them to be one big mesh. I want them to be little meshes. So I'm going to press P and separate by loose parts because they don't touch. They can be separated by loose parts. And now I have individual little objects. And I have 1,000 meshes down here in this cube collection. Might minimize that. So it'll be easy to work with. You can see that. There's more than 99 of them. Okay. Now, if I click on each cube, you can see it's given it a number, 803, 805. We'll use that later. And my original cube is just cube. Now, the reason why we deleted the default is so I can show you this. Well, first of all, let's do one little thing we have to do. I'm going to press A for all, and all of them will have this origin down here. Okay, we don't want that. That'll do weird things when we animate them. So I'm going to, with them all selected, right-click and set the origin to geometry. Now they all have their own little origin. Now on this first cube, doesn't matter which cube I pick, that cube will do me. I can come over here and add some rigid body physics, okay? So I can add some stuff to that. I'm going to show you another way to do it instead of going down here. I'm going to delete that. With the cube selected, I'm going to come up to Object, Rigid Body, Add Active. Bang, done. Now, I do not want to do that 1,000 times. Ain't nobody got time for that. So, select it first, then press A to select everything. And this is a different color. It's like yellow. That means this is the active mesh. Under Object, down to Rigid Body, I'm going to copy to everything from the active. So just to show you what's happening, if I click on these, and there is no physics, if I click on this, there should be. Let's have a look. Object, rigid body, add active. There, it's there. Sorry. Click on there. Bang. It's late. Okay, so that cube has a bunch of physics added to it. Press A, and none of the others do. See? Okay, select it first, press A, selects everything else, but that is still the active, and I'm going to get Object, Rigid Body, Copy from Active. Now if I select any one of these cubes, I've got exactly the same properties as this one down here. We are going to give it some color. So if I click on that object, materials, I don't have a material slot. I'm going to click on plus, add a new material, call it cube color, and I like a nice green. Now I'm going to change it to green. It didn't change. Well, it did, but you didn't see it because you're on just a shaded mode. Come to the middle sphere up the top. The third one, it won't do you much good because I've got the lights turned off. So there we go. There it is, green. I want it to be a shiny green. I love shiny. Shiny's good. A little bit darker. Not too dark. So to do that, I'll play around with this. I'll turn metallic up a little bit, maybe. And the roughness I will turn down. There, I can see, look, getting shiny. Shiny, shiny, shiny. Nice, nice, nice. Now, if this was the default cube, everything would have changed because they have the one material slot, which is attached to everything because of the way we did it. But I didn't want you to do that. I wanted you to do it this way so I can show you this cool little trick. If I press A for everything and then Control L, I'm going to link materials to everything. So now they've all got the same material. If I change that color, they would all change. Okay. So if I press play now, they all fall forever. Well, 250 frames. So we want them to fall, hit, and spread out. So let's go turn our collection on. I'll actually, you know what? I'll turn that off for a second. And then I'll move it so it's roughly in the center. I'm not going to muck around too much. And then I'm just going to go G, Z, up, and then rotate, something like that. Okay, we're going to make it fall down, hit a plane. Shift A, I'm going to add a plane, but I don't want to add it to the cubes. I want to add it to the collection. So I'm going to click on collection up here, Shift A, plane, S for scale, 60 should do us. While I'm at it, I'll go object, rigid body. While that's selected, I'm going to make it a passive one. So the cubes hit it and spread out. Okay, so it doesn't move anywhere. And we've got materials over here. Let's give it a material. New plane. Oh, you can come up with your own naming scheme if you don't like mine. I don't know, bluish, maybe a little bit metallic, a bit shiny, so I turn the roughness down. But you play around with these, find something you like. So there we go. Now, if I go to the camera and go to view, I don't see much. So what I'm going to do, I could run this animation. This might take a couple of minutes to actually calculate. So let's click on play. It's not too bad, but your computer might be a little slow. So I'm going to go back to the first frame, and then I'm going to go over here to this scene properties, rigid body world. I'm going to bake in the animation, okay? But probably around here will be as much as I need to go, right? So I don't think I need to bake in all 250 frames. So I'm going to change it 250 to about 130 where it says cache. I'm going to cache them, put them in memory, and then I'm just going to bake them. And I might get rid of this to start with. So I'll go to 130, shorten my timeline. I only want one frame, really. Bake. So you can see it calculating all the frames. Done. So now when I go back and play it, it's pretty smooth, all right? So it's calculated where everything goes, or made an estimate of where it thinks they'll go. Now let's find about there, maybe. I'm going to show you another little shortcut. I'm just going to move my view around somewhere, maybe down here. Find something interesting, maybe. Okay. Now I have to have a camera in the scene to do this. I'm going to press Control, Alt, 0 on the numeric keypad, and there, my camera has moved to that view. And I might go back a little bit. So I'm going to turn my camera to view and just scroll the wheel once. I don't want that little bit up there, so I'm going to hold down Shift, middle button, and pan about till I find a scene I like. Okay, that's where my camera is going to be for my rendered image. Now, I'm going to click on the light. Let's change that to a sun. And you haven't seen much change because I'm not on rendered view. Ooh, that's too bright. And turn that down to maybe 12 or something like that. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's better. And I've got the shadows being thrown here. Oh, doesn't look too bad. I can move that. Let's move it around and have a look. I'm going to turn this camera to view off. And I might even drag another window down here. Go to top view. Pick my light. Maybe rotate it a bit. Ooh, yeah, okay, that looks good. There, maybe. Oh, this one here. Okay, I'm going to put the sun there. I could give it a little bit of different color if I want, maybe a little bit of blue. Yeah, that. So I added a little bit of pinky sort of red. There's my sun. Camera, let's do some render setup. Okay, let's turn that options menu off. I'm going to go to this little output properties. No, next one up. Okay, turn a few things on here. Let's turn ambient occlusion on. Let's go to the shadows and maybe high bit depth. Not going to worry too much with that. I'm going to click on my camera. You know what I'm going to do? Some depth of field. Click on my camera, turn on depth of field. Now, if I select a box, I want to focus on a box, okay? So I'm looking up here. How about that one there? That's relatively my center. Cube 534. So depth of field 534. So let's pick that camera and focus on object 534. That one. Okay, so I'm going to focus on that one there, I think it was. I'm going to turn my f-stop down maybe 1.2. So that gives you that effect where it's kind of out of focus around the outside and it's focused in the middle. Should look pretty good. Let's do a render, see what it looks like. So I changed my depth of field. I'm going to press F12. And there we go. There is a little bit out of focus. Maybe I'll add a bit more. Go down, so come back to my depth of field. Blurry. Don't like that one over there. Might move the light. Yeah, they're out of focus. This is in focus. That looks all right. Now I'm in Eevee. We could have a look what it looks like in cycles. GPU. Excuse me. Okay, so pretty high samples. Let's render it. Let's take a second. This one over here is bothering me. So, but other than that, looks pretty good. Take sun. Shrink down a little. Rotate it a bit. Okay, let's have a look what that looks like. F12 in cycles. Almost 20 minutes, which is longer than I was hoping it'd take, but you know. Okay, there's my image. I'm going to go image, save as, and put it somewhere in my Creative Cloud. Call it there. There's my new image. That as. There we go. Voila.